You might be able to tell where this is going. And I forgot where I am. During this coronavirus lockdown, right at the beginning of it, my dad he developed a lump on his face that looked a bit like a sebaceous cyst. And he didn't do anything about it initially. And it just kind of gradually grew. And eventually he decided he was going to do something about it. He rang me up one morning, Saturday morning it was, and said he was concerned because it had collapsed. And I mean, it was large and it had collapsed, and he was concerned that it got infected and he wanted to go to hospital. Problem with that was that would mean leaving mum at home, and she's got Alzheimer's, and he didn't want to take her to hospital during this COVID thing because, well, basically they're both in the high risk bracket. I mean, dad's got sort of like COPD and mum's got Alzheimer's, diabetes, angina, and so on. And so, but he knew he needed to go. So, both all of us as a family had been sort of like self-isolating. So I knew they were safe and they knew I was safe. So I went through and sat with mum while he went to hospital. Well, I just headed straight through to Filey to be with my mum. Long story short, and the it was basically what they said was they gave him some antibiotics and sent him away. And then since that point, he's been through various things where he's had the antibiotics didn't work, so he went back. And then they said, oh, yeah, we think it might be cancerous. So then they asked him to go back, so he went back. And then they said, no, we don't think it's cancerous. We think it's an inflamed sebaceous cyst. Sent him away again and arranged sort of like for another appointment to remove it. And then at that appointment to remove it, that consultant said, no, there's definitely something more going on here. And actually, in the meantime, he also developed another lump on his arm. Another lump was coming on his arm. You might be able to tell where this is going. And I forgot where I am. Oh yeah, so when the last time we went to hospital, it's currently mid-July, and the last time we went, was well, sorry, mid-July. It's the 12th or 13th of July, 13th, and the last time we went was just over 2 weeks ago on the Thursday, and they said yes, as I say, there's definitely something. It's coming from somewhere else, and they took a biopsy and said, we'll be back in touch. And kind of 2 weeks went by, and I thought, surely they'd have been in touch before now if it was anything serious. And he's due back to go to hospital. It's Saturday today. He's due back on hospital on Thursday. Anyway, so come yesterday, Friday, I was thinking, I was still in that state of mind of kind of a little bit of denial and thinking, can't be too bad. They'd have been in touch before now. When I got a message from my sister saying, it's definitely come from somewhere else. And then apparently my dad had also turned around and said he's got another lump on his abdomen, and that was getting painful. So they arranged for a CT scan. I will not be uploading this during this process. This will all be uploaded after, however it goes. Dad's 83. There's no family youth. And yes, naturally my fear is oh fucking hell. This is this is this is the beginning of the end. I don't feel ready to lose him yet. All there's a part of my brain slipping into denial, going up that I might be being premature about this, but I think I've been in denial. And whilst there's nothing conclusive yet, the fact that there's one on his face, one on his arm, one on his abdomen, there ain't going to be any going back from this one. It raises such a mixed amount, amount of um, not just the emotions, but the kind of thoughts that then trigger emotions and so on. Because, like, as I said, my mum, Alzheimer's, angina, she can't look after herself. What do we do about her? What's going to happen to her? She's still she's trying to make light of the situation at the moment, and I think part of it is because of the Alzheimer's, she doesn't realise. I don't think she realises the seriousness of the implication, and I think because if she does realise it, she doesn't remember it. So she keeps coming out with the same jokes, and part of me just wants to slap her. I say, "Wake up!" You know what I mean? This. We're past the stage of jokes. Jokes were for 8 weeks ago, when it just looked like it was just an isolated cyst looking thing. There's just, as I say, there's a mixture of thoughts. There's the, yeah, naturally, I don't want to lose my dad. I know it's inevitable and it's going to happen one day. It's going to happen to all of us one day. He was my drinking buddy for a lot of years, which is when I really got to know him. We used to go out every week. And I love that. Absolutely love the fact that I did all that. Having done quite a lot of work and training in counselling and done a lot of work with the Samaritans and so on, and in other therapeutic fields, I am aware that one of the biggest issues that causes people to need counselling and so on is not facing up to aspects and the thoughts that we would feel bad about, and those are generally the ones that are purely selfish. So the purely selfish ones is, if he does die, what happens to mum? What's going to be the impact on me and my life as things stand at the moment as well? How long's that going to last? I mean, Jeanette lives out, my sister, she lives out sort of like Halifax way. And I live in York, and my mum and dad live in Filey. And basically, it's roughly 40 miles between me and mum and dad, and then Jeanette's another 40 miles away, thereabouts. It's not quite that far, but you get the gist. So a lot of the onus of that is going to fall on me, I'm guessing. And don't get me wrong, Jeanette's great. I mean, she's not just going to leave things hanging, but that's what I say. These are just purely the selfish thoughts that kind of go through your brain as well. It's just like, what are the impact? Because it's not just going to impact on me. It is going to impact on Jeanette as well. But she's got her own health concerns, and her husband's got health concerns. And to be honest with you, out of all of us at the moment, believe it or not, I'm the bloody strongest. It is me in bits on a camera. And when I say strongest, physically, yeah, we don't know what's going on in the skin here, um, but yeah. I just kind of wanted to. How is mum going to cope with it? You know, she can't cope with things on a day to day. Every day, she's going to be wondering where he is. She's going to be lost and confused. I mean, I'll never forget the time when she had a stroke a little while ago, and she was in hospital, sat there before me, Dad and Jeanette got to her, and she was sat on this chair. And as we walked in, she just said to Dad, she said, "I'm so confused. She said, I don't know where I am." And oh God, that brought a lump to my throat as well. I've just literally rang my dad to see how he is, and I think part of him is coming to terms with. He generally kind of brushes stuff off, but he actually said, he said, "I don't think I'm in a good way, if I'm honest with you, son." And don't get me wrong, you know, on a day to day, he's functioning, he's doing okay, but that doesn't mean that there isn't something else going on inside that isn't going to polish him off sooner rather than later. Because if this thing has grown and developed in, so like I say, the last 10 weeks or so, 10, 12 weeks, and there are more, then what the hell else is going on inside? I think one of the worst things for me throughout the whole of my life, I've felt emotionally detached from everyone, and I've always put that down to what I experienced through my childhood. The isolation, the feelings of isolation that I went through because of the bullying and whatnot with the paralysis and so on. And I think a part of me got a bit broken when I was a kid, and I've always been the same. I've never felt. It's only at these kind of things that I actually feel something. Most of the time, I don't seem to feel an awful lot. And I was like that when I was a manager and so on. I was able to be very easily emotionally detached from people, and I've never felt emotionally attached to our family. And I think to some degree they all know that. They always know that they've always known. We've never talked about it, but I think they've always known that there's that something wasn't quite right. And I kind of know. Oddly enough, the things that always makes me cry in films and so on is when there is, you know, the things where there are strong emotional connections shown and so on, and it makes me cry because it's something that I've always wanted to feel, and I feel as though I've kind of missed out on. And oh, but Jesus, he must be scared and stuff at the moment. my dad, that is, he must be, and obviously putting on a brave face on a day-to-day basis for my mum. Anyway, that's all for now. As I say, it is Saturday. I'm going through on Thursday to sit with my mum while my dad goes to hospital, and Jeanette will go to hospital with my dad. And but it, I might even go through and see them tomorrow. Probably will. The thing that stops me from wanting to do that is remember when my granddad was on his deathbed, and oddly enough, I took my dad through. I had a motorbike at the time, going back about 30 years. And my dad was rode pillion, and I rode us through to see my granddad before. Well, it was the last time I ever saw him. And I knew as soon as I saw him that I'd never see him again. He had what I referred to afterwards as a death face, because he just looked so skeletal, and his pallor wasn't a pallor of life. It was, and I knew I'd never see him again. And all I could do was cry. I cried my heart out in front of him, and I felt so ashamed and guilty, because I just felt that in doing that, I just basically told him that he was going to die. And I felt so guilty after that. And people said to me afterwards, yeah, we also told him that you loved him. And yeah, I know there is that to it, but I just felt so weak. And I don't know at the moment that if I saw them anytime, my dad anytime, I don't know how I'm going to be. And we're not even there yet. If I do ever upload any of these, they're not going to be edited. It's not the kind of thing you edit. Things are edited to show what you want to show, to present things in a way you want to present them. And yet some things are just real. I feel like I needed to sort of like do this to at least talk about this, even if I never upload it. It just might, going through the emotions of it might just be helpful. Just acknowledging that that is the way I feel, and feeling those feelings and emotions. I'm going to leave this there.